Hello, hi, Jeffrey Kin, Sarasota Rising, the Living Arts Festival Sarasota, with Visit Sarasota's Behind the Masterpiece, where we get to talk to incredible people who are part of our cultural coast. And I have the honor and I get to meet and talk with a brand new friend. I get to make a new friend today, Brent Douglas, who is the artistic director and conductor of the Venice Chorale. Hello, Brent.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I always love these conversations where I get to be just like the listener and I get to find out all sorts of great things about you. So I hope you're prepared.
That's wonderful. I'm glad my reputation has preceded me.
It has. So that's your official title, artistic director and conductor. But I also love to check up on folks and read things about them. But you're like a musician all around the world as well. So I know that the Venice Chorale is all about choral singing and the community. But you're a man about town. You want to talk about some of the other things that you've done, around the country and around the world, so that we get to know you just a little bit better.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I'm fortunate enough to make a life out of being a conductor and a pianist. My life as a conductor is about 50% of my musical endeavors, and the other part is being a keyboard player. I've always been a very ambitious musician, always trying to get my hands on everything and always get involved with a wide array of music. So I really work in opera, symphonic literature, choral literature, sacred music, and Baroque music. And I've been lucky enough to, as I say, sew together a nice pie or a nice quilt of a musical life. And it does take me over to Europe every summer, and as well as down to Naples, Sarasota, Venice, and of course, St. Pete and Tampa. I actually live in St. Petersburg, but I work all over this side of Florida, and like I said, in Europe as well.
You had a stint at Eckerd College. Is that correct, right there in St. Pete?
I sure did. Yeah, I think I was there for about 12 years. I taught chorus and orchestra, as well as piano lessons, organ lessons, and did a lot of recitals there as well, too. And I had a great time at Eckerd College. And fortunately, I had enough outside contacts that my professional life just kind of took me away from Eckerd. And I'm not there teaching anymore, but my life is fuller now than it's ever been. So it was a good chance to step away and fully jump into professional work.
Yeah, and sometimes that's a challenge, you know what I mean? Because the being in the education system has its solidity and it has its thing, and then sometimes going off on your own can be kind of scary. Were you scared at all going from the rigidity of the education world to professionalism?
No, because throughout my career, I've taught at other places. I've done some teaching in junior high school, high schools, small community colleges, all the time having another lane or another vein of work, my professional career. So they were always symbiotic. And having a full time job at a college has a lot of perks, but it also has a lot of weight and a lot of things that can slow you down as a professional, administrative things, mentoring students. All those things are wonderful and important. But since I've always been a professional performer as well, when that side of my life took over, I said, okay, I need to step away from teaching and just follow my passion. And especially when things are opening up for me all over the world.
So I know you do things all over the world, and I read something about in Germany, you were a part of a production of a black light version of the Magic Flute. Did I read that properly? Because it looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
That's great. And by the way, that production is coming to Venice. We can talk about that later. But
oh my gosh, we can talk about that whenever you want, because that's awesome.
Okay, we'll go into that in a second.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So this happened in Germany, and you were a part. Were you the conductor? Were you in it? How did that all happen?
I was the conductor and was also an artistic advisory. So it was a new opera company that was started in Dusseldorf, Germany. And they hired me to come over and conduct their inaugural performance and also put together a program for their initial gala. And so I went over there and I had a little bit of trepidation because I had never heard of Blacklight Opera before. And Magic Flute is obviously very dear to the German audience. So we were wondering how it would be received, but it went off with flying colors, blacklight colors nonetheless. And the whole concept was the entire stage was dark except for black lights at the foot of the stage. And all the costumes were designed with materials that reflect and absorb the blacklight colors. So the Magic Flute was the most magic that it had ever been, and it was fantastic.
Wow. I'll bet you that was cool. And but that gets to we're gonna get to see that?
We are going to get to see that.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, the other part about this production that was amazing, it was designed as an educational piece, particularly family friendly, something that you could bring kids to. And some of the themes in Magic Flute can be quite advanced, even for adults. And so, if you're not familiar with the opera, it has a lot of dialogue between all the musical numbers. And what I did was take all the dialogue between the characters and write it for a narrator. So the scene starts with a daughter and the father camping, and she says, "Father, tell me the story of the magic flute." And so he proceeds to tell the story, and then a musical number would happen with the black lights, all the magic. And then he would continue to tell the story. And so we focused on the music, and that was the highlight. And so we pared it down. We made it more family friendly, relevant, and different. And like I said, it was a big hit. And I'm bringing it to Venice, hopefully next fall.
I love it, and you're filling a need, and you're not, going up against somebody that are trying to be something that you're not. It's super organic. So I got to ask, where did a kid from Greeley, Colorado, become an opera fan? How did Greeley? How did you get from here to Dusseldorf to Venice from Greeley, Colorado?
Yeah, I was also conducting some opera in Sicily the last couple summers too, so it's been quite a ride. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my magic journey because I always remember how many musicians and artists, writers, anybody who's a creative person, how many of us start at an early age and just dream about being successful, whether that success is making a living full time, part time, or in my opinion, a success is just somebody who keeps creating, who has that drive, who keeps practicing, who keeps dreaming and believing. And that's been my path. But I started piano when I was 5 years old. And I actually wanted to start when I was 3, as soon as I was talking and very engaged. But my parents were told to wait until I was 5 when I could be in school and learn how to read more. So I was actually the person who's like, give me piano lessons now. And so at age 5, I started taking piano lessons. And I was the kid who would be playing all day and all night. My parents often had to say, close the piano. It's time for bed. You can't play all day. You can't play all night. Go outside and do baseball. Go outside and ride your bike. So I was a consummate pianist.
Go get dirty. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they musical at all? Were your parents musical? Did you get some good genes?
Yeah, my mom played. She was self-taught, and she played at church sometimes. And then my father was also a self-taught organist. And by organist, I mean 70s, 60s pop music on an electric organ that lit up and taught you how to play the keys. That's kind of musician my dad was.
That is absolutely fascinating, though, because, you've got to start somewhere. I love stuff like that, people making it their own and coming up with what they love to do. And so luckily because there are kids that could have said, I want piano lessons. And the parents are like, number one, we don't have a piano. And number two, we can't afford it. And number three, you know what I mean? Like, think about all the excuses. So where did you go from Greeley? I'm assuming you probably went to college or university someplace else. What was that trip?
Yeah. So in high school, just really quickly, I was also an actor. I was in the chorus. I was in the band. I played viola in orchestra. I played saxophone in middle school. And in high school, I joined the choir. Although they wouldn't let me sing because I was such a phenomenal pianist, I turned into the accompanist for the choir.
Right.
But I
Right.
always listened to what the teacher said. So that was my earliest introduction to singing and choruses. And in high school, I was also the drum major for 3 years. So that's when I became a conductor. Um, and I went to college accidentally as a piano major because I got a bunch of scholarships. And when I graduated from high school, there was nothing else I liked to do except music. So I was offered scholarships to play the piano, so I went to college for piano. I also took up the bassoon in college because they needed a bassoonist in the orchestra. And the orchestra took tours to Chicago from Missouri. So from Missouri State, I was playing piano and I was playing bassoon. And I was like, this is great. College is wonderful. I'm getting paid to be a musician.
Wow. Wow. So you wear number one, you wear a lot of hats. You make it sound like, oh, then I took up the bassoon. Like it's like you make this sound you're so nonchalant about this. Coming from someone who, can't play a musical instrument, I'm a fan of anyone that can do exactly what you do. But creative wise, like for example, next season, this season, you guys have some interesting events planned. Did that come from your brain too? Like you're doing a Christmas thing in December. So is that you being artistic and creative and developing these, or do you have people that you work with at the Venice Chorale to come up with these? How do your events happen?
Yeah, the position that I hold is as the artistic director and the conductor. And in fact, this year we just whittled it down to a couple words, music director, because it was a mouthful. But when I got hired 2 years ago, that was the primary responsibility of my position. Design the concerts, a theme, pick out all the repertoire, program, and hire any guest artists. And I think the reason I won the position is because besides all of that, my whole desire for music is to make everybody try and find something they love in classical music. So my approach is beyond the music. I also have like a multi-sensory, what we call, engaging concert concept. So the concerts that I design, not only do I narrate and often talk and educate, sometimes they'll have a story, a through line that ties all the music together. For instance, the first season we had two singers who were married and a baritone and a soprano, and she also happens to be a mermaid. So we had this whole pretend mermaid theme, and the concert was all centered around water and the music of Ballet High, and we had opera from Italy, and we sang sea shanties. So it becomes more than just here's the next Bach piece, here's the next Leonard Bernstein piece, which are great, but mine always have a concept. For me, it gets me more engaged and the audience is more engaged. And besides those stories, then I also design all the lighting effects. So I work with the Venice Performing Arts Center and I tell them that for this song, I want a sky or something, or I want some green colors to make it feel more whatever the theme of the song is. And then I also tie in often titles, subtitles, and then also sometimes video or photos that I design myself. So I'm not just designing the music, I'm designing the whole experience once you walk in the theater, and even pre-show things that happen so that people are engaged. It's a little bit almost like when you go to a ride at Disney, before you get to the main ride, things are happening, you're getting excited, you're being enticed, and then everything is wow. It's all the senses because that's what we need as modern people. We need the music, we need graphics, we need backstory, we need everything to keep us as engaged as possible.
And then kind of educate when you can slide it in there as entertainment. There's always that. Maybe I can learn you guys something if you just pay attention just a little bit. So I saw on your website you're doing a classical Christmas in December 15th. Yep. You're doing a fairy tales and fantasy in April, And then I would love to know what the big sing is. What is the big sing?
Well, the big sing is to celebrate the centennial anniversary of Venice, Florida. 2026 is the centennial. It's been 100 years since the city of Venice was founded. And one of the reasons I love working in Venice is because we're a very proud city. We're our own little enclave in South Sarasota County, and we're really on the grow right now. We're really growing. So the Big Sing is a chance to bring all of the choruses from Venice, as many as possible, to highlight the centennial. And we started a choral composition competition last year. And so this year's theme is the composition will celebrate and be about the city of Venice. So I wrote lyrics along with our youth chorus director. We wrote lyrics that encapsulate the 100 years of Venice, from the earlier founders and all the things that happen and have happened in Venice. And then we put it out there to composers, a nationwide competition to write a song. The song is designed to have a verse about Venice and then a chorus that talks about unity and our identity and how wonderful it is to live in Venice. And so I've invited schools and churches and other community choruses just in the Venice area to sing on that concert. Each one will have a chance to present their music with their director and their pianist and their chorus. And then the Venice Chorale will sing a bunch of music. And at the end, we will premiere this world premiere with the mayor, hopefully, who will be there. And we will sing about 100 years of Venice with a mass choir.
The mayor better be there. There's no place else. There's no place else that mayor should be than on April. Let's see. When is that? When is the Big Sing? When is it?
Yeah, so that's why it's called the big. That's why it's called the Big Sing. So far, we have 4 choruses joining us. So we're up to about 175 people on stage at once for that.
That is incredible. So the best email for you all is thevenicechorale.org. Is that correct?
That's our website, yeah.
Yeah, thevenicechorale.org. Because, we're talking about these experiences and they sound fascinating. But of course, wouldn't it be nice that we sell some tickets for you guys too? Because you're doing the work. So let's put some, as we say, let's put some butts in seats, shall we?
Yes.
That would always be that's a good thing. I can't wait for all these things to come up. And I'm so glad that we had a chance to finally sit down and talk. I've never had the opportunity to meet you. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing your talents with our cultural coast. It's so important, the work that you're doing. And I love the fact that you can bring things that you've gathered from around the world. It's like the world of entertainment is right here on our cultural coast, due to wonderful people like you. So thanks so much for the conversation, Brent.
You're welcome, Jeffrey. It's very nice to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Jeffrey Ken as a part of Visit Sarasota's Behind the Masterpiece. We love listening to our arts practitioners and we want you to listen as well. So make sure you join us at sarasotapodcast.com and we'll see you at the next interview.